not just the way. What's that you say? Isn't that the way?
Hello and welcome to Heatbangers. I am joined tonight by Matty and Neil as ever, and we are on our 50th episode. I'm not joking. We don't know what episode we're on, but we're on quite a few episodes. We've got a good regular cadence going right now, lads, haven't we?
Yes, we have.
We're free flowing. If you haven't heard this before, we are three guys that basically talk about current affairs, stuff that's going on in our lives, how it makes us feel, and I think it's quite interesting. Don't know about you, how he's doing. Do you think it's interesting what we talk about, guys? Or
I hope so.
nah?
That was a good summary though, Neil. Neil, got it.
Fucking hell, right?
I know.
Can't even get
Start
it.
already. The drinks past my lips. It's kind of tired. Up early and shady night. These things happen. We're all man. Talked about this before, didn't it? Old age doesn't come to sell. These are the sort of mistakes you make.
I was looking at stuff because I was still struggling to lose weight, and I was looking up stuff, and it was like the old health anxiety was kicking in. So I thought I must have some sort of condition, and I was googling it, and what came up was if you're struggling to lose weight, one of the things was old age. And I was like, surely that can't be like a medical condition, old age. It's just like, but it's just
that's the medical condition, is it? No,
they're just got to be like, you're old, So all right, that's you lose weight.
When's considered old now? Because I'm one of the guys at work turned 50 today, and happy birthday, Alan, if you're listening. That is his name as well. I got that right. I thought about it before I said it. We were talking about it yesterday because he was off today. He said 50's not old anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like we were talking about it last week, and we're not quite at 50 yet. But what is considered old age now?
I don't know. It scares me. Like sometimes when you think about it, when you see folk in it, Paul McCartney in his 80s, Robert De Niro in their 80s,
having bairns.
I remember younger, but it sort of freaks me out a wee bit. Even other folk. It's like Posh Spice. She was 50. It's like, when did she get 50? So I mean, her nose is probably like 22. The rest of us.
We're all living till we're older, though, right? I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing. Depends how you look at it. But
there was a stat at the induction training I had at work. I think this is 50% of kids that are born today will live beyond 100. That's mental, eh?
That's real. Oh, why is that though?
Advances in medicine and science, healthy living. I suppose less things that kill you.
So, okay, will they? Because that's definitely got to stop for me.
What's that?
The smoking, is it like you're not allowed to? You know, bring it in. You're not allowed to buy cigarettes if you were born after like a certain year or something like that.
I don't know. They'll circumvent that. Kids will not stop smoking like this.
How did they force that?
They're on vapes now, anyway, aren't they?
But they're banning vapes as well. It's really fun for everybody.
Tobacco companies would know outright ban either.
They wouldn't make
too much tax consideration as well.
Far too much tax. Surely was that a whole justification in the amount of money that like the NHS use to treat folk who smoke? It's like cancelled by the amount of tax that they make for smokers or something like that. I don't know. Maybe more money's made for tax. I don't know, but just can't see it happening.
Maybe. I was going to say about, because you're saying that like medical advances is the reason why, right? Yeah. Which I get, and on the face of it, that makes sense. But we've seen very like in the last couple of years how much struggling the NHS is, how underfunded it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like if that gets worse, and then or say we move to which is quite clearly what the current government are trying to do is privatise it and move to the American model. We had all the way Bojo and Trump and them trying to do wee deals and stuff. If that comes to fruition, does that then have a knock-on effect to that all of into 100 years? Because people can't get the treatments that they need as easily as they maybe did when they did that study. I probably don't have the answer because we're no scientists or analysts in that
Okay.
space. But
This is true. It's an interesting one. I don't know what the appetite would be like for health insurance to that degree in Britain. Like whether folk would stand for it. Do you know what I mean? Or whether they would just go fuck it. Like there's already like see if you think car insurance, the amount of uninsured drivers now because car insurance is so expensive, the amount of uninsured drivers has gone up massively over however many years because folk just go, oh, fuck it, I'm just not bothered with the insurance.
Right.
They're not bothered that it's breaking the law and they kind of figure, well, if something happens, it happens. And I think you would have certainly the poorest in society would go, well, the same as America, like they can't afford it. So what he's going to do, leave him to die. And I don't think where we are with the history we've got in Britain, if folk would stand for that as a thing. I think the NHS is probably one of the few things that folk are genuinely pretty precious about.
I
And
don't know. You'd hope so, but do you not think it's like we would be more concerned about like something that wasn't like as big as that? I don't know. I mean, like something would rile us, like the death of a swan that, like, you know what I mean? A seat, like killed by like a ring pool or something like that, and the country would descend. It'd be a shame, right enough, but do you know what I mean? There's sometimes I think it just depends what the moment is that everybody feels like. Do you know what I mean? So if like enough people felt concerned about it, then aye. And there was something that sort of made me think about that, and it's like aye. It's
I'm,
just
I,
if
I'm
there's
with
enough,
you on that one, Neil, because I think, and on the face of it, you're right, Matty, but or potentially right. But we've seen recent history has shown us that if governments want something, they find it very easy to manipulate the public. And we've seen it with things like Brexit and everything, the lies, and people just lap it up. And the amount of shit that's going on, even like I guess, again, what you're saying about like the NHS is a big thing, and it probably is maybe the line. But look at like the gas and electricity and all that, and the piss, like the profits that supermarkets are making. You go in for bread and milk, and you spend 30 quid and things like that, and people are just taking it. Nobody's that up in arms about it.
yeah, but it's a fair point. Yeah, I suppose we'll see the general election, like how much folk are just taking it. It's whether we hear about whether folk are taking it or not. Because obviously folk are doing stuff about it. You get food banks and stuff, which are generally sort of community run, aren't they? Like people are going, well, fucking, we need to help each other. It's small scale, but I think that now the reason that there's no bigger dissent about it is because the end is in sight. But folk will just not vote these fuckers back in again. And the Tories have obliterated themselves by the look at it. So when it gets to the general election, Labour will go in, right, and you can have your own opinion about how much of a difference that will make, but it will be different to a point. And I definitely think that the wealth grab that's going on at the moment will slow down under a non-Tory government than it isn't, and that's maybe why folk are up in arms. I think if it was at the start of a cycle, Tory government, and this was happening, I think there would be. I don't know. Maybe I'm fucking delusional with it, but I like to think like folk would go. It's no one that, like you say, the utility companies are making record profits. Tesco's making record profits at the same time as we're getting told there's a cost of living crisis, and you go, well, that's no cost of living crisis. That's just rich people stealing from poor people. That's or even poor people, but kind of like just folk of average wealth are becoming poorer because rich people are getting richer.
It's spot on. Like it's difficult, and I think the government at the moment. So you're talking about like potentially general election. What happens? Like we don't know what will happen. There's a good chance, and hopefully there's a high chance that the Tories will be out the door. But as we've seen quite recently, and it is becoming more and more apparent that the Tories are going out their way to do as much as they can before they depart, right? So whether, again, like you said, your people's opinions on Labour and New Labour versus Old Labour and whatever that means now, the job that they have to do to undo that, and like by the time they get in the door, so one of the things that I was going to bring up as a topic was the recent news around the changes to some of the laws and the bills that have been passed. One of them being the Back to Work bill. I don't know what the official name of it is, but basically what our great glorious Prime Minister leader Sunak said it is was getting rid of sick note culture within the UK. Well, it was England, didn't it? Because we've got devolution in Scotland. I don't think it applies here, thankfully, but it still has an impact, right, on the UK as a whole, and the way that they're attacking yet again the working class people within the country and within England specifically is deplorable. It's absolutely shocking, and the stuff that they're doing and the things that they're putting in place right now are going to be really difficult to undo by any government with any of the best of intentions. So like they're looking at basically recouping, getting, I think it was like 370,000 people back to work that have been on disability payments or have been off sick from work for a prolonged period of time, and they reckon they'll recoup about £2.5 billion worth of money back from paying these people for being off of work and back into the economy. Like, obviously, it'd be good to discuss like the mental health side of this stuff, right, and why people are off work, because it's not just physical stuff. I think what he was getting at was more around the mental health side of stuff and the reason why people are off work, because let's be honest, someone's got a broken leg or they've got an illness or cancer or whatever, you can't argue against that stuff, right? So he's went after you're feeling a bit depressed. Well, the best thing for you to do is, and I think he actually pretty much hinted at that, the best thing to do is just to get back to it. That doesn't mean you can't work. Let's get you back to work. And it's a massively dangerous, you've seen all these charities and mental health corporations, not corporations, charity. I'm trying to think of what they're called, like organisations. Let's say. They sort of speaking out against this, right, and rightfully so, and the detriment that it's having, and the irony of the reason why people why they're feeling that way, caused by him and his government, and they're not seeing this, or do they even care? So, and that's not even mention what they're going to do with that money, right? Like, what they've never said, like, oh, we're going to recoup £2.5 billion, we're going to put it here or there. Not that I've seen anyway. So it'll be interesting to get you guys' take on that whole situation. Let's just discuss it, I think, if you're up for it.
Do you think it's more like a stigma that people are trying to get rid of, like when it comes to mental, or it goes back to like what it was, where people will know, like, say they've got issues or that, they'll be scared to talk about it because they'll not be treated fairly at their work or that. Do you know what I mean?
They've set the precedence already, though, isn't it, for that?
Yeah, it is, but with like a stroke of the pen kind of thing. They just undermined however many years of mental health work to kind of raise awareness and to give it credibility and recognition as like a genuine bona fide condition. And you get some prick who's a fucking billionaire.
Aye.
He's no a doctor, he's not an expert in the field by any stretch of the fucking imagination, and he's decided, but he's only really that ill, everybody. You're just having a bad day, just get back to work, just grin and bear it. It's fucking ludicrous. You thought, like, Gordon, you were asking earlier about like that, the reason for folk living longer and the advances in science, and you've got fucking clowns like this prick that are they just unravel it all. Don't they? Like, folk live longer because you could go to a doctor now and say, here's what's up for me, right? And you can go through, they can diagnose you with depression or stress or anxiety or whatever it is they diagnose you with, and invariably they say you need to look after yourself, take a bit of time. You get like you signed off for anything for a week to a few weeks or longer, like depending on the severity of the condition. But it's what folk need. That's like the doctors are not just doing it for a fucking laugh. Come out of there, I'll shut this fucker up because I'm sick of hearing them moan. take that, mate. Just fuck off for 2 weeks and come back if you still can't be arsed going to work. But that's not what they're doing. They're giving folk that time off because they need it
Yeah.
to get better. And you've got fucking a boy who will never need to work. Like, genuinely, he does not need to work a day in his fucking life. He could just fuck off somewhere at a wee island, no bother us again. He'd be quite happy. We'd be happy. He doesn't have to go and try and ruin every other cunt's life. Blows my mind.
It's mental. And even if and I must say, he's still a human being, right? And there's a chance. I can you're not saying this at all, Matty, but there's a chance that he could have depression or anxiety or whatever, right? But the resources that are available to him, he'll not use the NHS. He'll have private healthcare, the best of the best. He's a prime minister, right? And everybody that's in his cabinet or whatever will have exactly the same or similar. It doesn't affect him the same way as it does everybody else. He doesn't go to his GP and go, "Doctor, I'm not feeling too great. Like, I'm really struggling. I'm depressed. Or I feel suicidal or whatever." And then the GP goes, "No bother, Prime Minister. Take a couple of weeks off." He'll just he'll have therapists at his disposal. He'll be able to get his PA to arrange his time a bit better.
Yeah.
There's no relatability there whatsoever, and that's been lost in politics for a long time now. They're so far and away removed from the majority of society in Britain, and it is absolutely bonkers that and the only way I can cut it up, right, and it's the long and short of it for me is that it's just another way for them to take money back from the people and pocket it for themselves. I can't even think of any other reason why that is the case, right? Why would you be so obsessed with getting people back to work? The only reason is for tax benefits and to recoup that money and to get them out and about. The same reason why they want everybody to go back to offices and everything, and they're like, whether we could talk about that, but the reason why they want that is because companies that they invest in them or sponsor them or whatever it is have office buildings. They want you to go and spend your money in Starbucks and Costas and Pret and all the rest of it, and then there's tax for that. It's all geared towards making them more money. Like, there's no empathy there. There's nothing. There's a number on a spreadsheet somewhere, and that's what it comes down to. They didn't care that your mental health is this or that. And I can guarantee you suicide rates are going to absolutely skyrocket in England after this. I just can't see any other which way about
it. You can imagine how anxious folk who would be feeling now. Like, folk who are off, genuinely signed off, diagnosed with conditions that they're struggling with their day-to-day life anyway, right, to get through it. And then you hear that in the news, like, you put yourself in that, like, those people's shoes. And it'd be horrendous because you're not going to feel better. You're not going to feel motivated to be jumping back into your work or I'll just give myself a shake and I'll be better. It doesn't work like that. You're going to spiral with it. It's just heartless. But this is like politics now, and the government that we've got now, and we've seen it for years and years, is they will stigmatise a section, like a vulnerable section of society. They've done it with immigrants for years now. That's been a hot topic, and again in the news this week is they're determined to get the first Rwandan flight out before the general election. Like it's a fucking triumph that they've look, we've managed to dehumanise people and send them to a country which is, you know, demonstrably not safe, but they'll argue otherwise, and people buy into it. Like, you've got folk delighted. Like, there was folk died crossing the channel last night. Kids, kids as part of that, and they're fucking daft bastards celebrating that. These are human beings, like, and again, it just blows my mind. Like, can you imagine? People know the risk when they get in that boat to come across the channel.
I don't do it likely.
Because they feel that's what they have to do. You wouldn't put your kids' life at risk if you didn't feel you had to do it. And folk are delighted that they've been killed, or that when they get here, come on, if they're lucky enough to survive that crossing, let's get them in a fucking plane and send them to Africa. Fucking mental. And so what? So that we didn't get angry at them stealing billions of us for fucking PPE or
and that is a problem, right? It's exactly what you were mentioning earlier, Neil, about people get distracted by other things. Right? We've been sort of we're consuming stuff for the media and everywhere else, and what the rhetoric that they're putting out there is that the people that are coming out of this country from a boat who, in a situation, like, think about it, right? What situation? Anybody listening to this? What situation would you have to be in that you felt like you would have to put you and your family on a boat that you potentially, there's like you say, Matt, like potentially a 50% chance of you surviving that because things are so bad where you are? Like, that's not just like a trip to Butlins. Like, that is like an absolutely, it's a life-threatening situation. They feel like they have to do it, right? So they would put in that situation. We are being told that these people are the problem to our country, and this is the reasons why, and we've got to do this and we've got to do that. When exactly as you say, Matty, there's billions being fluttered away in PP contracts, apps, track and trace apps, to boat ferry contracts, to PALs, to the MPs, stuff that would basically save the NHS, would save this, that, and the next thing, would make the country so much better. And no one's up in arms about it other than us. Well, I don't know if it's a minority, right? But it looks like it is because the way the voting's went in the last 8 years, 10 years, 12 years, whatever. And we get completely distracted by what's been said to us, and people just seem to lap it up, and I just didn't understand it. I didn't understand why these people cannot see. And I think Brexit was a massive change, right? And I think that really highlighted, especially in England, definitely in parts of Scotland and Wales as well, that there's a massive xenophobic part of the country that are just full of hatred, right? And they've got issues, and they just want to look at anybody else and everything else as the issue rather than looking at themselves. And we're in this situation where, like you say, people are celebrating people dying on a boat that coming from a different country. Human beings. Like, it doesn't matter where they're from, right? Like, they're just human beings. I'll never understand that. And you've got, like, taking back our Britain and the British way. And I've seen stuff on Twitter now that's absolutely bang on. Like, these people are the first people that go to Benidorm or somewhere else on holiday, and they basically didn't want to try and engage with the locals. They take it over, they're full English, they get St George's flags everywhere, they're singing all their, like, English songs, and getting pissed on Carlin and all, and it's just like, can you see the irony? Can you? Like, it's just absolutely unbelievable. But I don't know, like, Neil, we've probably me might have to give you a chance, but how are you feeling about the latest revelations in politics?
I struggle to keep up with a lot of stuff. I think it's probably because it can be quite depressing. So there's that thing where, like, you come in, felt like working that, you're like, I'm not really want to watch the news, and you'll see maybe snippets and stuff, and it's like, how much can you take? Do you know what I mean? You're just watching stuff. It's brutal. Like, we must be currently in, like, what world war are we on just now? We must be on about 5 or 6. Do you know what I mean? It's just like stuff's going on everywhere you look, and it's like, I don't know. So it's I think it's difficult keeping up in it, and it is that thing where you're looking to, like, stay informed and educated, but at the same time, I think it just keeps chipping away. It's like, what is the actual point in, like, do you know what I mean? I don't mean that, like, what's the point in life, but what's the point in, like, caring? Because nobody else seems to care. But then I suppose if everybody else feels like that, then, do you know what I mean? It's that sort of situation. So
Catch-22, isn't it?
And it is a horrible thing, and it's that thing, like, I think, like, we've all got, like, a caring nature, like us being no folk that are, like, caring that as well. There's only so much that you can care. Do you know what I mean? You can't go down to, like, Cali or that, or you know what I mean, and then try and save folk and that, or likewise, kind of go over to, like, make sense of what's happening in Gaza or, like, Sudan. So Sudan, we are using, like, starvation as a weapon and stuff like that. It's just like, or it's been used as a weapon. It's just like, oh man, you just can't take it. Do you know what I mean? So you're watching stuff and it's just constant. But then you feel like ignorant by not keeping informed as well. But the whole thing about the decision about, or the announcement about the like mental health and going back to work, I just thought, even see when he was delivering it, it was just like, it was like a bad actor, like Ronald Reagan delivering like he was a bad actor. It was just like, it was no sense. It was just like, I know I'm just going to say this and go and numb it, boom, and it was just like a pantomime, like, or just really. With Boris Johnson, I know that any better, but it was like there was more conviction. I think what he said. I don't know. Do you know what I mean? You sort of had the feeling that he believed in what he was saying, but it's just stuff dead willy nilly. Do you know what I mean? Like,
do you know what, it feels like they pick a pot. It's like policy lottery, isn't it? It's like they've kind of got they've got a ball, like a ball, and they put their hand in it. And in this one, it's like, right, which demographic are we going after? Right, working class, right? And what are we going to take from energy prices, right? And how long is it going to be? Fucking forever, right? And who's going to benefit? Well, there's only one ball here. The really super wealthy, right? That like policy's no work. Nobody's bought it. Let's do it again. Who's it this time? Fucking immigrants, right? Or fucking send them away. And it's like there's no thought to it. It's not like they've gone. It's like miles off of having like the manifesto as well. Do you know, like when you get elected in, and you see these are our policies for the next however many years?
No off the paper they're written on now, are they?
These fuckers are just going, well, we need to do something. And just somebody might cling on to it. Somebody might like it, or at least get them talking about that for long enough for us to go and steal another couple of $1 billion for somewhere else.
Aye.
Which is
do you think the manifesto thing? I don't know if we've said this before, but it does my head in. Remember one of my mates back in like the 90s, he was like, I'm voting Labour because they're going to legalise cannabis, and I was like you can't really like form the basis of it, but it's up to how people vote on that. But there should be a thing where it's like, right, what are you going to do, be it like a local MP or whatever, or do you know what I mean, like whatever representation they are, what timeline are you going to do it by? Because if you're not doing it, we want you out. Do you know what I mean? That's like if you like at your work in that. Do you know what I mean? Like your performance, like you would be getting like an annual review in that. All right, so this is what you said you would do over the course of a year. You've not done it. Like we need to start having words. Do you know what I mean? They're not accountable. So it's just like, yeah, let's just go for it. And
can you imagine if they changed the voting system to some sort of like AI, like ChatGPT driven thing, where they go in, they give you like kind of you do these personality tests, and it's like on a scale of 1 to 5, like which do you agree with this statement? It's like strongly agree or strongly disagree, and they could have kind of like we should look after people who agree or disagree. Right? And you go, I agree. Like wealth should be distributed fairly. Agree or disagree, or people should get to keep what they earn. Agree or disagree. Like I don't mind paying high taxes if I get good services, or I don't want to pay any taxes because I pay for all these things. There's all these sort of statements where you do it, and at the end it spits out and says that you're most closely aligned to Labour. You're most closely aligned to Conservative. You're, like based on your answers, you're and so you kind of take away, like you get almost blind, and they go and put their policies in blind, and you just fill that part out, and they come out at the end and say, right, based on who you are and your values, that's who your vote's going towards, and then you have like a majority values based decisions that that sort of dictates how the country gets run.
I'd like every
I'll try and pioneer it.
Try to pick a basketball team. I think I'll always want to get into basketball, and you do the thing where it's like pick a basketball team. What is your favourite colour? Do you know what I mean, and stuff like that. What was the name of your first pet?
Same idea. Aye.
It comes up by
like, you had to do with careers, didn't you? Like your career thing at school. Somebody's got that.
Aye.
Some sort of mad algorithm that made no sense to fucking read. I don't think anybody's ever done the job that they were told. Nah. At the end of that. But the problem is linking the data back to an actual party, though, right, Matty? Like, I think that's the flaw in that proposal, because they're fucking a mess. Like I didn't like. It's not like it used to be with politics. There isn't like a left, right, and centrist. It's just
this would let that happen, though. Like so, if you say you're almost voting blind, so like we could say, right, I would broadly align politically, right. So let's say we go in the Heatbangers party, right, and
there's an idea.
We have a manifesto, and you submit your manifesto to the electoral committee, and you say that's us. And the Tories do it, and Labour do it, and the SNP and the Greens and the Lib Dems, Monster Raven Looney Party, all of them Captain Buckethead or whatever his name is.
Aye.
They all do it. So it's blind, but it lets you say, right, this is what we firmly believe in. We're not going after the populist vote. We're not going to try and get catchy headlines to say put £350 million to the or billion to the NHS on the side of a bus. We'll just say that these are the things that we believe in, and folk can say what they believe in, and they'll get the party that aligns to it. It's not going to be a sensationalist thing. You're not going to be like a single issue party winning it. It would be, you could be the party that you wanted to be, and that party would, as long as enough folk liked it, would rise to the top. If you also fitted that in with proportional representation in Parliament, then it pretty much you get the country that you want.
Aye.
As long as they stick to what was in that, though.
Aye, that would be in the rules.
The problem. Aye.
That would be in the
and
rules.
It goes back to Neil's point, like, at what point do you hold them to account?
Yeah.
Do you let the AI run through that as well? And, like, based on the actions, they've not met a percentage of the criteria, so...
you know, yeah, maybe they would have to demonstrate. It would just make it all transparent. That's what we said we would do. How you get on with it? Have you done it?
Aye.
I think can.
But we've lost the true meaning of democracy, right? And that's the problem where we are. Like, the whole point of democracy is that it's a majority sort of rule, if you like, elected officials by a majority of people that are based on the principles of the majority of those people. It's no majority anymore, right?
No.
Like, and it's even if you take away the majority of the electorate, it's the people that are running the country. They're a minority, right? The rich and like the super wealthy are a minority. They're running the country, so it just doesn't. And I've always had a massive issue with the way the voting system's set up, because it is all geared towards like a couple of parties, and it protects them to always be at the front of it. Because there is really good politicians out there that still want to do the right thing, but they just never get any sort of. It's like it's equivalent. It's like your Tesco's and Asda's versus your wee local like butcher or whatever. Like, don't fuck it, no chance, fucking no chance.
Yeah. There's no like a stat like there's no like we've not had a prime minister that's not been eaten, for example. Like I think if it's like none whatsoever. But what are the odds on one school in the whole country being where all the prime ministers have come from?
I know.
Odds are pretty high when it's set up to be like
That's
that.
it.
Right?
But it shows you there's that's clearly flawed. That's not representative of the nation. Of course, it's not.
Did Jeremy Corbyn go to? Well, he never made it as prime minister,
He was never a prime minister.
he never got there, no. Never.
He got. I don't know if Blair did.
He went to Fetties, eh?
Aye. Hold on. I'm just going to Google. Who was the last prime minister? Probably be Sunak. Yeah, like it'll be the one that we've got there now. That didn't.
He definitely went to Ian. I'm pretty sure he did. Ian Rifles.
Aye, good tune.
Aye, brilliant tune. Sometimes listen back to, like, it was so in the pulse, Weller, and the Jam.
Totally.
So,
like the Clash and that as well. Actually, at that point,
Aye.
it was like an era that I wish I'd sort of lived through, but I was alive in. But
And it's made to think how relevant it still is.
aye. I was listening to somebody recently, and they were talking about punk. What was it? Was it a podcast of that? And just how it was a podcast actually, just like a side comment about like punk. But that's still massively relevant. Just the attitude and stuff. But do you get people nowadays like social commentators? I don't know. It's all just media, like social media stuff.
there's 20 prime ministers have been through Ian, and then you've got the odd exception here and there. But aye,
So how many prime ministers have been in total?
I don't know. They might have told you there, but I've put it away now. That might have involved some mental arithmetic, and I definitely did not go to Eton. So I think.
Nah. You've got a bit of an Eton attitude. No, I'm just going to make a joke about that, but
I like Eton.
leave it fair.
Aye, I like Eton. I do. But
Eton
not Eton. Yeah. On a slightly different topic, if any of you watched Baby Reindeer yet?
Nah,
I've heard about it, though.
I've heard about it. Aye. So I don't know if I want to watch it because I've heard a lot about it type thing. Do you ever get like that where you're like, I want to watch something because it's popular, or you know, to listen to something with everybody else?
Too cool, Neil. You're just too
I
cool.
I know, I am. I annoy myself like that. Aye,
It's hard being that cool.
like Still Game. Can I get into Still Game?
Still Game's alright. Some episodes are very funny, but I'm with you. Like it's definitely like as funny as some folk make it out to be. It has moments in it that, but I think there was a whole series at one time that was shite, and then they sort of rediscovered the writing form after it, and it was really good again.
Take note to self. Get 2 new co-hosts for this podcast.
All I'm saying, it wasn't like wall to wall success where like it had hits and misses in it.
Ah, what fucking Still Game. Absolutely love it. I can pretty much quote most of it verbatim.
It's good, but I think it's like pinnacle.
Anyway, Baby Reindeer.
I would recommend it, but it's heavy on the whole mental health thing as well. So, like, you know, if you've got an interest in the podcast, it's probably worth looking out for it. But handles things very, very obviously a true story about a guy getting stalked. But very, very honest in it. It's horrific in bits, difficult watching bits, funny in bits.
Is it like dramatised or?
Yes, it's based on a true story. The actor or the boy who's in it is the guy that wrote it, and it's his true lived experience, all of it.
Oh, really?
Obviously, they're dramatised. It's very like Trainspotting in style. In fact, there was a bit in it where he's taking drugs, and it's almost like shot for shot out of Trainspotting. You know, like you can look at it and go, "Okay, hell, that could have just been in the movie." Shot of him like sinking down into the floor. But it's good. If you like Trainspotting, you like that style, you'll instantly want this, and then it just draws you in. All the episodes are quite short as well, like 30 minutes, apart from one episode. It's a really difficult one, but it's 40 odd minutes. But it's definitely worth watching.
I add it to my ever-growing list that I never seem to get through. There's so much content now. There's so much like TV shows and movies. It's actually kind of like I think the streaming platforms are good in a way, but also I miss and long for the days where it was like a couple of channels and you just knew what you were going to watch, right?
Yeah, what you miss for that is everybody often watch the same thing.
Aye.
So when you went into work the next or school, as it would have been like school or work, and you said, "Did you see that last night?" And everybody came and you were talking about, and we'd all
Did you watch
watched it.
Danger Mouse at the weekend?
Aye. And you'd sat and watched it with your mum and dad or whatever. Do you know, like your family would have watched it with a cup of tea. It's like the royal family. That's my house was like that. Kind of the royal family, not the royal family, but
gold pianos,
my arse. Do you know,
xenophobia,
Caroline Ahern. We weren't quite as quite like that, but that everybody sitting around a cup of tea on the telly and just fucking taking the piss at each other. It was brilliant. You really can't like in my house. My daughter will be streaming something in her room. My other daughter will be streaming something in her room. We'll be watching something. The Doug will be watching something else. Ken, he'll. Everybody just has that sort of communal. We force it on a Friday night. We did a movie night with my youngest daughter, and we get that sort of shared experience thing. Like you said, like, no matter what, phones away, watch that and have that sort of shared experience. But I get that. That's definitely it's a weird thing when you have all this choice. It's like you think it's a good thing, but there's a cost to it, isn't there? Like that sense of community goes away with something as daft as everybody having watched Coronation Street.
I was reading a book recently actually, and it was about like one of the things it talks about is like there's too much choice nowadays. So it is even if you were to say like, what do you want to watch tonight? And it's like it's not even just what do you want to watch, but what platform you want to watch. Netflix, Disney, is it like are we just going to watch something that we've seen? You know, and there's so much. So it's good for something like I will end up watching it, Baby Reindeer, but it's good that it's getting like people talking like us. Do you know what I mean on this? Right, let's watch it. It's good when stuff like that comes along. But it's just too much choice nowadays. So I just end up watching Friends again or The Simpsons, and hoping it's one of the good episodes.
It's still game for me.
Do you have the same issue with choosing what to have for your dinner or your tea, depending on what your preference
I didn't
is?
get me started on that.
It's mental,
I didn't, but the rest of my fucking family do. I'll just eat it, I'm no fussy. But they're a nightmare.
Is everybody else just no fussy though? Is that the thing? Nobody can decide.
Nah, they're just fussy.
They're just fussy. See, I think our problem is we live in close proximity to every type of takeaway you could want.
I'm the opposite. I've not got any.
So we like I could throw a stone through here and hit a McDonald's, right? Or a Greg's, or a Pizza Hut. Go a wee bit further, we've got.
Is that why they've got smash windies, eh?
That's what they've all broken windies. There's KFC. There's a Roosters, a different chicken place. There's Domino's, countless chippies. Like, but you get scunnered on them as well. It was like a treat to get a takeaway when you were wee. But now it's like it's too easy, too accessible, too much choice. So you get scunnered on them, and then it's convenient because that puts you off cooking. But then when you go to Tesco, you're like, what the fuck will we have? You didn't want to have burgers because they're McDonald's. Then it's like, well, you may as well get a McDonald's. You didn't want to get a pizza because there's better pizzas at the pizza shop along the road. It's like, fucking hell. See, try to get folk to agree on what we'll have for tea. Horrendous. That's probably the biggest stress I have in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So, it sometimes feels like it.
I can be like, it's annoying though, isn't it? Like, cause especially when you get to that point where it's like, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, and you still have the idea what you're getting for tea, and then it gets to that. I've often like, you get to that point where it's like, I can't make this because it takes like an hour to make. I can't do this. I can't make that because like I ken some people like having their tea late, but I like to have my tea like about 6 o'clock latest. Because I normally go on the bike or I do something else or whatever, and I didn't want to be digesting or still eating my dinner. But it stresses me the fuck out. Like every night, I'm like, fucking 5:30, and we're still decking what we're having for dinner.
Aye.
And then you just inevitably go, I'll just make something really quick and dirty or get a takeaway or whatever. And then you get into that bad habit. And it becomes very expensive very quickly as well.
Aye.
Although I'm starting to think that takeaways are probably just about as cost effective as going for a shop at Tesco's or Asda.
I tell you, kicking ours off it. We obviously depends what you're getting, and this is like we don't turn into 30p Lee, going back to like fucking arsehole politicians. You can go around and you can get make a tomato pasta for £3 or whatever. You don't want to eat tomato pasta every night. But if you want to have like a kind of a decent tea and you pick up nice ingredients, you're at £30.
Aye.
You go to Tesco very quickly.
Aye.
And then you're like, oh, we need some juice. 10 quid for a fucking box of juice. And then you're like, okay, now you would have been as well just going to get a Burger King. It's fucking nuts. Burger King's near us as well.
I've going to go to like Just Eat and like it doesn't deliver here or Deliveroo. Like Just Eat does, obviously, because they just do like their individual, but Deliveroo and Uber Eats, they do my area, and I'm glad. And I'm actually dreading that if they ever open it up. But like where I am, there's there's like the local Chinese's and a couple of chippies, and there's a Domino's, but that's it. I have to go to like the Fort or Dalkeith for the nearest McDonald's or whatever. So it's a wee bit just too much out of the way to be convenient. So I'm quite glad. I
could walk back through the McDonald's and the food would still be hot. That's how close it is. It's fucking nuts.
Do you just stay in McDonald's car park?
Literally, you get to the top of our street and you cross the road and it's there.
Aye.
I think it's not quite the same, right? So there's a McDonald's next to the big massive Tesco, and I think if I park my car at the furthest away spaces for the shops, I'm probably only a wee bit further away from my house than I am for Tesco, like for the distance.
Aye.
Just a wee bit, like maybe a minute extra walk to get to my house for the far side of the car park at Tesco than if I was just going into the shop. And McDonald's is closer than that, like, and so's the Greg's, Subway.
Dangerous, isn't it?
Aye. They need a gym. They need to put a gym closer to me.
Halfway, just like in between.
To be fair, there is a gym over there as well. That's just a little bit further away, though, isn't it?
Aye.
Wee bit too far away.
Get a Big Mac on your way to the gym.
Right.
Wrap it up.
We're out of time, eh? Thanks.
Right.
I'm over at McDonald's.
It made
I was
everybody.
going to say, we better wrap it up because Neil's been telling us he's cold this whole episode. So,
Subliminal
for the
messaging.
listeners, he's wearing I think it's a Cold War Kids t-shirt.
Cold War Kids.
So all we can see is cold.
Well,
cold.
Well, this is Coldplay, and we'll just you pretended you were cool. We'll take some of your credibility away. Everybody likes to slaughter Coldplay, so we'll say it's no Cold War Kids. It's a Coldplay t-shirt that Neil's got. His favourite band.
Yuck.
I was this one for another day. Coldplay get an unnecessary amount of hate. In my opinion.
I think they do as well.
Neil screwed up his face. They're one of these bands that go big and everyone went, fuck them.
Aye.
The first two albums were amazing. They got really shit.
Yeah, they go downhill after that. But I know it's bands every week, so
Nah.
I still wouldn't want to be kind of caught in the car listening to them. Anyway, right. Thanks for tuning in. We'll be back in a fortnight. Watch out for that, and we'll see you then.
Isn't that just the way? What's that you say? Isn't that the way?